Hey guys, Elizabeth Quinn here again with Elizabeth's Scenes and Scents. Welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to check out my website, which is waftingwonderfulwax.scentsy.us, where I'm Liz Quinn, your Star Scentsy consultant. So today I have for you a really wonderfully fun video. I had a lot of people giving me great ideas for content for the channel between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the thing that really captured my imagination was the idea of doing Christmas carols, any kind of wonderful Christmas songs that we all love and hold dear, and trying to match them to Scentsy bars. So in a sense, this is kind of like a melting basket, and in a sense, this is like walking down memory lane. I have taken a lot of time to make a list of a lot of my very favorite songs that I could match legitimately to a scent, either by name or by the feel that it gives, and I think this is going to be a super, super fun time. So let's just dive right on in and enjoy Scentsy bars as Christmas carols. Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, and everybody else, everyone. So the first thing on my list is the classic Deck the Halls, and you really cannot get in the Christmas spirit until you've decked your halls from the top to the bottom. And my very favorite version, because I'm also going to talk about the songs themselves and which album, or if I can remember the artist, I really love that goes with the song. So for me, there is a group called Mannheim Steamroller. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. It's such an unusual group name, but they are the other one, so to speak, that's on the radio that isn't Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and they have the most wonderful rock and roll 80s version of Deck the Halls. They have all sorts of amazing music. If you have never listened to them for Christmas, there's the Black Album, if you're in the know, the Red Album, the Blue Album, and it goes on and on. But those are the three that I really love. And honestly, guys, if there's only one album I'm going to listen to for Christmas, it would be the original Black Mannheim Steamroller Christmas album. It brings me back to my childhood. I'm definitely going to get emotional in this video. My uncle gave me, no, not me, gave my mother this record, and they played it over and over again, and I just fell in love with the dramatic, powerful music. Some of it is very contemporary, some of it is ancient. Some of the music on that particular album is from medieval time period instruments, and it's incredible. But anyway, I digress a lot, so I really wanted to think, what would get me in the mood to deck the halls? And I think cinnamon pine cones is the scent. This is quintessential craft store Christmas. You go in there, you get inspired, you go shopping at all the different craft stores and even at the grocery store sometimes around Christmas, and you smell this scent and it makes you want to deck the halls. This is an equal balance of wonderful pine cone and spicy cinnamon and kind of a spruciness, or balsam. It's got all that sweet, piney, balsam, spruce goodness rolled up in here. It is so good, and this is current, and this one is a very nostalgic classic, and I think it's perfect for that song. Now the next one, I don't know if I have a quintessential favorite for the classic Jingle Bells. You can do it with all sorts of different artists, and my particular vein is going to be either Christian artists that have done a lot of good carols, or more choir music, or the unusual things like Mannheim Steamroller. I don't have a lot of like typical mainstream albums for Christmas. So there may be some things that I tell you about today where you've never heard of it, and the music is fantastic and inspiring, and you ought to Google it and try it, especially Mannheim Steamroller. But anyway, Jingle Bells. My favorite Jingle Bells is called Jingle Bells a la Sandra, and it's by a lady named Sandy Patty. And it's more than Jingle Bells. You have to go listen to that. If you want a laugh at Christmas time, go find Sandy Patty's Jingle Bells a la Sandra. Another one who does a good job with that I have is Michael W. Smith, and also there is a really good one that my girls love by Point of Grace. That you can do Jingle Bells just about 17 million different ways on an album, and those are all great, and they get us in the mood. So Sleigh All Day is the scent that I picked to match the mood of Jingle Bells, because you feel like you need to go outside, and it needs to be old-fashioned, and it needs to be frosty. And that is all of this, and this is a retired bar, but it is just so nice. And if you can't get that, but you have another retired bar, Red Berry and Spruce is kind of good for this too, because it's like outdoorsy and frosty and woodsy. It makes me want to hop in a sleigh, get a really nice big fur muff and a nice sleigh blanket. There's a word for that. It's a lap robe. That's what it's called. And just go and do some Jingle Bells in a one-horse open sleigh. And hopefully we won't have the horse that is a bobtail nag that over ends the sleigh and we end up in the ditch like in the song, but you know. the next one that I have here is my favorite childhood classic. My favorite childhood classic song is, of course, you know how much I like deer, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And again, my mom, and you guys have never heard the version of this, I'm sure, that I hold so dear. My mother knew I loved Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and back in the day, all we had was a record player. You couldn't just Google something on your phone. You couldn't even go to a super big media outlet. You had to really look. She found something called Fred Waring and the Pennsylvanians, The Meaning of Christmas, which is almost like a story song, and it's got two sides. One side's all about the nativity, the other side is all about holiday traditions, and it's ridiculously old-fashioned, and their version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is adorable. And of course, the other thing about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is that you make him in a cookie, and then you take the little cinnamon candy, right? You guys all did this when you were a kid, and you put the cinnamon candy on Rudolph's nose. So I chose Cinnamon Bear to represent Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, because I can't think of anything else that we have that is both powerfully Christmassy and perfectly quintessential for baking cookies and doing Rudolph. And this is just the best cinnamon, you guys. It is such a wonderful, rich, festive scent. And this will get you in the mood to bake sugar cookies and go get that thing of cinnamon candies. It's just wonderful. So then, what's the other one that kids love? And that is Frosty the Snowman. And I don't have a perfect, like, this is the album. It just all kind of blends together for me. I have a really cute version by Mannheim Steamroller that's sort of techno. And I have blends of Frosty the Snowman in... Gosh, there's an old tape, who knows where that thing is, probably in the garbage dump, that had really corny, probably bad productions of all these different Christmas carols. And I had a little portable tape player, and I would run around the house, literally with a string of Jingle Bells that my mom made for me, in a dance costume and a tutu, doing all these songs and acting them out in front of the mirror. I mean, I told you this video was going to be nostalgic. There are so many wonderful things that I associate with music and Christmas. It is just the best. So, what am I going to do for Frosty the Snowman? I think Olaf, being that he is a snowman and he is coming back in December, you will be able to get this far, is perfect for Frosty the Snowman. It's frosty and sweet, and that's exactly what Frosty the Snowman is. And just like Olaf, he's going to come back again someday. So good, you guys. This is really, really nice. So that was super fun. Now, the next thing that I did as a child was every year we would have a really beat up tape of the Nutcracker. And as I mentioned, I would run around in a dance costume with Jingle Bells, right? I thought I was the next prima ballerina, and you know that I loved the Nutcracker. And I would dance all of it with the people that were on the television. Probably it's the version with... I'm not sure, maybe Baryshnikov. I'm not very good with my Russian ballet at this point. And I just thought it was the best thing ever. You know, when the tree grows on the stage, and then when everybody gets swept away into the fantasy world and all the fairies come. The Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. I think Sugar Plum Berry goes beautifully with that song and that entire amazing production. If you haven't watched a Nutcracker in a while and you want to get in the Christmas spirit, just go and do that. It's wonderful. I know that the story itself's a little bizarre. The one by E.T.A. Hoffman is a bit odd. But when you Americanize it or Russianize it or whatever you're going to do and you kind of smooth out the plot, Tchaikovsky's score is so inspiring. So Sugar Plum Berry goes very well with that. And it's sweet and tart, just like the Sugar Plum Fairy and all of the things that she dances. And it is beautiful. And this is current scents of the season. So this is sort of a plummy, very candied fruit, very festive scent. And it's nice and strong. So then after that, we're going to go back to that record that I told you about, the album, Mannheim Steamroller Christmas. There is this incredible cut on it called Good King Wenceslas. And you've never heard it like you've heard it on that recording. If you do not know what I'm talking about, you'll be like, that is a really boring, stuffy, old medieval hymn kind of a thing. Yes, unless you listen to it that way. But Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. And it is just a wonderful, very old... what I love about the holidays, you guys, is that Christmas brings traditions, sometimes very, very old traditions, and I also love history. And some of the things that are in the songs, if you really listen to the words, number one, you're going to learn a lot about the deep meaning of Christmas, which is, of course, Christ and redemption, and why do we have presents? because Jesus is the present. He is eternal life. But anyway, we'll get to that at the end. But Good King Wenceslas is one of those where I think of very old-fashioned things. And I think that Wassail Wonderland, because Wassail is this punch. It's got all sorts of booze in it and all sorts of other things. If you're English, you could probably tell me more about it, because I think you guys still do a wassail bowl. And there are other not so common, like traditional carols where you'd go around wassailing and all this crazy stuff. But Wassail Wonderland, this is a good bar, and I thought it went with Good King Wenceslas. This is very traditional with the oranges, the clove, and the fir needle, and it definitely takes me back a couple hundred years. Very, very nice. Although I'm not sure that they had oranges, so maybe that's not fair, because those are definitely done in a warm climate. You grow those in a warm climate. But at some point, at least by the Victorian era, we had pomanders, so I'm rambling. Okay, after that, Silver Bells. And you guys know, this one's kind of a no-brainer. Silver Bells is the most wonderful, nostalgic, gorgeous, sort of makes me think of the 1940s, you know, Silver Bells. It's Christmas time in the city, and it's such a soft song. And again, I have several different versions of that, but there's another record, and this is a record by some group called Living Strings, and this is the sappiest, cheesiest old, probably 60s cut of an orchestra. And their version of Silver Bells just always makes me like tear up and want to cry. So Silver Bells, and that is the other one that I would like give an arm and a leg for. The Living Strings, Spirit of Christmas, the Mannheim Steamroller original, and I'll talk about a couple others. Like those are my Fred Waring's Meaning of Christmas. Those are the special records that then eventually I found on iTunes, and I have bought them all and I keep them. So, Silver Bells, which we have just as a beautiful bar, and this is light and ethereal and wistful, just like the song. And this is crisp, and it's very Christmassy. It's got the vanilla. This is current in the catalog. It has a really nice peppermint. It's got some pear. It's beautiful. It goes with the song perfectly. The next one that I have here is just a good old-fashioned classic, and that is Oh Christmas Tree. And you know, the very best scent to go with the Christmas tree idea is very snowy spruce. So that's a pretty self-explanatory song. I don't have a specific album where I love it. I'm pretty sure that Tony Bennett sings it on one of the Mannheim Steamroller, or maybe the Red album. But that one, it's a great song. I listen to it when it's done more like orchestra and classical and all that, but it doesn't tug at my heartstrings too much. But I had to include a Christmas tree song about a Christmas tree scent. So Very Snowy Spruce is great for that, and this is just the happiest, most quintessential, sweet, syrupy, piney, sprucey, ambery goodness scent. Now after that comes one of two where I couldn't figure out which one was which or what I was supposed to call it. There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays is different than I'll Be Home for Christmas, and I had to listen to both of them before I could figure it out. So, Home for the Holidays. I love Sandy Patty's version of this, and again, this is one of those albums that most of you have probably never heard of, and some of it she's too operatic and too high, she's quite the soprano, but that way she does that song, it's a medley with something else. It just tugs at my heartstrings, and the things that I love about it are all the regular words, and then the thing about homemade pumpkin pie. So of course, I had to include Pumpkin Roll, because even though this is pumpkin-y, I feel like this is such a festive scent, and it brings us to Thanksgiving, and it brings us to Christmas. It is so good, but this is one of those songs that's too big for just one. Homestead Holiday, this is also perfect for I'll Be Home. No Place Like Home for the Holidays. I got a different one for I'll Be Home for Christmas. So Homestead Holiday is the sort of thing where both of these, you could do them for Thanksgiving, you could do them for Christmas, and it is just homey goodness. And there's no place like home for the holidays, no matter how far away you roam. And from Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. You know, I love all that. I met a man who lived in Tennessee, and he was waiting for Pennsylvania. He was headed for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. I don't know, just makes me happy. Makes me so happy. Blue Christmas. Now, I don't love this song, but my husband loves this song, and he likes to sing it. And he likes to sing it at my in-laws' family karaoke with all of my brother-in-laws as his backup singers. That is a scary, scary moment. It's hilarious. We've got a video somewhere. You don't want to watch it. And he wasn't even drinking anything. So, Blue Christmas. That is a memory, you guys. Blue Christmas. It just makes me think of my husband trying to impersonate Elvis with bad karaoke at my in-laws' family Christmas. Oh, but it's so good. This one was available last year. It's very similar to Sugar Plum Berry, but put in more tree and take out the super sweet, almost sweet tarts kind of a deal that Sugar Plum Berry has. It's really good, you guys. So, Blue Christmas. Self-explanatory. Really, really good memories. Okay, the next one I've got is I'll Be Home for Christmas. Now, that's a little bit more wistful than Home for the Holidays, so I picked probably the most classic quintessential Scentsy scent, and that is Christmas Cottage. So, I'll be home for Christmas, you can count on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents under the tree. Christmas Cottage is perfect for that. And y'all know what this is like. It is the most beautiful raspberry, spices, and orange scent. And right now we have it as Scentspirations. Next, we have the Holly and the Ivy. Now, the only reason that I could include this, which is a very old-fashioned hymn kind of a deal, and you usually think of that being sung with your English choirs or even a boys' choir and almost like a high church kind of a sound. Meet at the Mistletoe, which is going to be the December scent of the month, is perfect for the Holly and the Ivy. The Holly and the Ivy, when they are both full grown, something about the holly wears the crown. I don't even remember it all, but this is a very good one for that. Now, after that, we've got Winter Wonderland. In the meadow, we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, "Are you married?" I'll say, "No, man, but you can do the job when you're in town." Walking in a Winter Wonderland. This is another one where I had two that I just thought were perfect. Frosted Vanilla, to me, is just fantastic for this because it's this icy, beautiful vanilla. And, you know, if you wanted to get married, this would make a very nice, like, outdoor snow woman perfume. It's so good. But I also thought that since we brought it back this year, and we may not have it again in the future because they took it out last time, Snowberry reminds me of walking in Winter Wonderland also. Both of these are great. This is a little bit zestier. So this is very, very good with peppermint and loganberry and strawberry and cinnamon. It's so nice. Next, we've got Little Drummer Boy. This is my husband's favorite Christmas song. And in the things that we have for our holiday 5-bar bundle, there is no way I wasn't going to include Rum Pum Plum. I mean, come, they told him, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum, me and my drum. All that the little boy could give to Jesus was his drum solo. And there are some pretty funny memes about how Mary had just gotten Jesus to sleep. And there's a little boy who gets his drum solo, and then it's all over with. And it's much funnier in the meme, but you know what I mean. Rum Pum Plum, very good. If you haven't tried this and you like bakery at all and you like crusty, bubbly, wonderful, Christmassy, jammy plum and fruit, you gotta get this. It's so, so nice. So next I've got Joy to the World. Now here is another one where it's usually at the beginning of an album. There are lots of versions. It's super loud and boisterous and fantastic with a choir and organ and symphony and whatever. So I thought we needed a big personality bar for Joy to the World, the Lord has come, let earth receive her King. And I actually have Joy to the World on my mantle right now to remind me of, again, the real meaning of Christmas. Be merry. I mean, how could we not rejoice when we know that salvation is at hand because of Jesus? So this is such a good reason to celebrate. Oh, guys. I know that this is also retired, but this is such a quintessential bar. This is the perfect meeting of berries and a little bit of tree. And it's kind of antique-y, actually. It's so, so good. But it makes me very happy, so I wanted to put that with that song. So I actually had to write all of these down because this was quite the project to pull all these together. The next one, I think it's Burl Ives that sings this, have a holly jolly Christmas. You know, that is one where I always think of the Rudolph show and I think of all the music that goes with it. And Holly Jolly Cider is perfect to go with Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. I mean, you just can't, you can't leave this out. It is just fantastic. So this is a current brick and you can get it as a bar and club. And similar to Be Merry, this is just a perfect Christmas scent. It's just perfect. This is good for any party, any gathering that you're hosting because it's not too strong, it's just right, and it totally goes with Holly Jolly Christmas. Now, another one that I really, really like is the very dramatic orchestra version of Sleigh Ride. And that is one where, again, we have the bar that's named after the song, so we have to do them together. And then there's another Sleigh Ride song. There's one by Michael W. Smith. Come on, we're going for a sleigh ride. Christmas time's here again. I don't actually know what that one's called, but both of those remind me of this bar. Oh, so nice. And I love Michael W. Smith's albums, all of them. And I could not come up with a bar for it. But if you have never heard any of his Christmas albums, his oldest, it's like a old school 1980s, there is this song called Gloria on there. If you guys want to like get goosebumps, listen to Gloria. I actually choreographed a dance in high school where we went around and we did, with these beautiful worship banner props and all this, we did that song as a dance in churches, and people were always so moved. It was so magnificent, so beautiful. You've gotta listen to that song, Gloria by Michael W. Smith, on his oldest album for Christmas. But Sleigh Ride is so happy and goes with the Leroy Anderson and his orchestra, where you're going to hear the trumpet sound like the horse. That is such a quintessential Christmas song. And this goes with that beautifully. Anyway, what's next? White Christmas. Now, you want to pull on my heartstrings? White Christmas the movie is my all-time favorite Christmas movie. I love How the Grinch Stole Christmas too, and I don't have a bar for that. I should have thought about that one. But somewhere in my pile here is Whiteout, which I thought was perfect for White Christmas. It's frosty, it's sweet, it's just like, and they go to Vermont in the movie. If you've not seen White Christmas in a long time, you've got to. That is the best. And I'm sort of sliding movie in here to go with the song. Did you guys know that when Bing Crosby recorded that, they wore out the first record and they had to record it again? I don't know how many times, because there were so many copies made. I think it is the quintessential, most reproduced and most wanted Christmas song from our, well, it's not the same century now, but from the last 100 years. Whiteout, perfect for that. Absolutely wonderful. So then another one that I have in my roster here is It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, because I was trying to come up with a song to go with what I think is one of the most wonderful bars that makes all the good feelings of Christmas come together, and that was last year's Sweet Orange Pomander. Oh, you guys, this one made me tear up when I opened it last year. And it just makes me think of the most wonderful time of the year. It has all the goods. It's like Mistletoe from Yankee, which is such a tearjerker for me. And it's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Amy Grant's album, her second Christmas album. That is the quintessential one for me with that. It's all I can hear in my head. It's so good. And I love Amy Grant's old albums too. She's got a Tennessee Christmas, and then the other one totally brings me back to my teens. So nice. So then we've got, I've only got a couple left, guys. All right. I've told you before that when I smell spiced berries, I think of We Three Kings of Orientar. I do, because of the frankincense and the gold and the myrrh and the song. And I better not sing that one, but We Three Kings of Orientar, bearing gifts we traverse afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. And if I've got a few words out of order, I haven't sung those in a long time. So good. All right. And then next, we have the last two where I really wasn't able to do a great job matching the very last song, but it is the song of songs when I think of Christmas. But before that is the bar of bars and the most heartstring-tugging classic song other than White Christmas of the last century. And that is just titled The Christmas Song. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir and folks dressed up like Eskimos. You know, everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe, they help to make the season bright. And it just goes on. I love that song. Cozy Fireside, my favorite scent of all time, because it directly connects me to the feelings of my childhood and Christmas. Goes with the Christmas song. And I don't really have an affinity for Nat King Cole's version, but that is the version that is the most quintessential. So I think that's the way that should go together. I should honor that. But there are so many different versions of the Christmas song, otherwise known as Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. And I could have put Caramel Chestnut in there, but that does not have the nostalgia factor of this. And so last but not least, my most, I would say, sacred song is Silent Night. That was written as an inspiration by, I believe, a German choir master. I don't remember the entire thing, but it was born out of a time of adversity, I believe, in the man's life, and Silent Night, Holy Night. I think their organ was broken or something, and they had to do it on the guitar. All is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. And back to My Love of Mannheim Steamroller, they do the most hauntingly beautiful version of that with this violin that just floats out on the wind, and at the very end of the song, you hear these little jingle bells and this little toy piano. It is such a tearjerker. It's so amazing. And I do not have a bar that blows my mind, but the one that I thought fit the best is Joy and Wonder, because this really is very much like going to a midnight mass or a sacred service to ponder the true meaning of Christmas. It has that incensey, intense quality. And every Christmas carol is wonderful. And I think I actually forgot to tell you about Jolly Old St. Nicholas, which is a great one that I did when I was a kid in Christmas plays. I was going to throw St. Nickerdoodle in there for that. But the true meaning of Christmas is Christ. And I hope that you guys have the most wonderful holiday season from Thanksgiving on into Christmas, on into New Year's. And that if you do not know the joy of discovering who Jesus Christ is, that this will be your season to receive the most important gift, which is eternal life. I hope that you guys have had a wonderful time reminiscing with me and have an absolutely wonderful, happy holiday season. This is Elizabeth with Elizabeth Scenes and Scents. God bless.